Hello everyone, welcome into Above My Pay Grade. My name is Eric. I want to real quick talk about fiat and how it's dying. How do we know it's dying? Stuff like this article I'm going to show you. I'll put the link in the description. Now if you will, real quick before we start, hit that like button, subscribe if you could, so this stuff gets out there. Whole channel, all it's about is letting you know the rules of the game, the rules of the money game, and how you may think that everything's going to go back to normal, but right now we're in the death throes of fiat. The fiat system is breaking down. I did a video the other day about the euro and how it's not only inflation, but the dollar going up in value makes things even more expensive for them. So that not only is the euro losing value, but the dollar's gaining value, which is the worst possible outcome for them. And I talked about how Europe as a whole, the Eurozone, they're all under the euro. So Italy, Spain, Germany, all these countries, and they all have different economic traditions or fiscal levels of fiscal responsibility. So if one country, it would kind of be like in the States, if the state you're in decided to be really fiscally irresponsible. Maybe their state pension was running out, and the federal government comes in and bails them out. That makes other states who are fiscally responsible go, that's kind of odd and annoying, right? The same goes for these countries, and it makes it even worse. So, what's going on in Europe, you ask? Great question. They are releasing something called unlimited bond buying, because they're about to raise rates. They have inflation just like the United States, and they're about to raise rates. You know what that means? People aren't buying bonds. If you remember, bonds are government debt. Bonds are government debt. And just like anything else, if everyone wants in on bonds, the interest rate on a bond will go down. So if there's a lot of buyers, the interest rate, which means the interest you're getting on your money, goes down because they don't have to have a high interest rate, because there's tons of demand. Now, if there's low demand to incentivize more buyers, interest rate goes up. Here's the problem. Governments can't afford that interest rate. They have too much debt. And nobody wants to buy bonds, or at least a lot of people don't. So, interest rates want to go up because people who have, like the United States or Europe, 9% inflation, if a bond's yielding 3%, why would you want it? Okay? So again, governments have too much debt, and if they sign on to more debt at a higher interest rate, they can't pay it. So what's going to happen? What's Europe going to do? This is just... here it comes. Okay, you're going to see more of this stuff. And the lesson here for you is you need to buy stuff that the government can't print, because we aren't going back to normal. We aren't going back to normal. What COVID did is send us over the top. We were already in this fiat system of printing and printing, but COVID just accelerated the end. That's all it did, because it was gonna end eventually. All COVID did was accelerate the end of the fiat system because we printed so much money, both in Europe and the United States. So, this is a quote from a Yahoo Finance article. All the ECB's previous asset purchase programs triggered, I forgot. Where was I? Here it is. European Central Bank will unveil an unlimited bond buying tool next week. That's to keep rates low, because governments can't afford them. That's to keep rates low. And what I was going to say here in this quote, all the ECB's previous asset purchases programs triggered lawsuits by Germany, Europe's largest economy, where beliefs in monetary orthodoxy run deep. Remember what I said about Europe and the European Union potentially breaking up? How pissed would you be if you're Germany, who's fairly fiscally responsible? And there's other countries like Italy and Spain, not so much, not so fiscally responsible. And Germany gets the raw end of the deal when the ECB, the whole European Union, is under this central bank that basically does this fugazi euro buying and bond buying from all these countries. And the real question is, what most people are asking, if the central bank, which is, once you go down that rabbit hole, which you're like, central bank, not part of the government, and yet they can print money. Seems odd. It is, you're right. But this central bank, where do they get their money from? To buy government debt. So when government needs money, they need more money than tax receipts. They have to sell debt or sell an IOU to the public or now to the central bank. Now you might ask yourself, where does this central bank get the money? That's a good question. You know where they get it? They print it. And by printing, I mean adding a couple digits to a screen. Now, you may be asking, won't printed money increase inflation because it gives the governments more money to spend? Yes. And as you ask these questions, as you dig deeper, you'll figure out you've been in this you've been in the system your whole life that has been screwing you over and helping other people get rich. The fiat system. It's made up. It's Fugazi. So now we're at the tail end of it because we've printed too much money and they're trying to keep the train on the tracks, and it's gyrating right now. And the ECB knows it. European Central Bank knows it. And so what they're trying to do to level those tracks out is buy all government debt because they realize no one else is going to buy it. And if no one wants to buy it, the interest rates go through the roof and the governments can't afford it. So the European Central Bank is going to come in and buy it for them with printed money. Yep, it's all true. I still find myself, because I started digging into this stuff in 2020, I knew, government printing and all that kind of stuff was odd. Government debt didn't make a lot of sense. But as I dug and dug after, COVID and all that, most of the things I was reading, metaphorically speaking, my jaw was to the floor. Because I was like, there's no way this is the way it works. And it's the way it works, which is ridiculous. And you're going to see more drastic stuff as fiat currencies around the world die, right? Because they're going to hyperinflate, they're going to have depressions, there's going to be all these things to keep these markets going. But here's the thing that the Fed and the ECB don't have control over: sentiment, right? They want that trust. And when they lose that, when they lose the market, and the market says you guys are up a creek without a paddle, and all you're doing is making it worse, because not everyone thinks that way yet, but they will, trust me, they will. And this is just another sign that it's dying, and they don't have control, and they have to go in and yield curve control, buy all the bonds. Hilarious stuff, kind of hilarious that they get so drastic, but also kind of scary, because it's some scary things going to happen in Europe and eventually the United States, because we're a global economy here. Let me know what you think about the ECB buying all the bonds right after they stopped buying bonds, and now they're going back to buying bonds unlimited style. That just lets you know how bad it is. All right, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. See you guys in the next one. Peace.